free agency frenzy continues with Evil. He is officially out. New Japan confirmed tonight that Evil is leaving the promotion when his contract expires at the end of the month, and it looks like he is a WWE bound. I'm glad he's not going to AEW. So
Me too.
our buddy Feinstein swears up and down that Evil's great, and I love Jeremy. And other people think that Evil he can have good matches, but it's just the gimmick, the House of Torture gimmick, is what's been holding him back.
I agree with
I don't
that.
know. Yeah, I think it's possible, but I worry about him going to WWE because, other than a couple of people, they don't really do much with the Japanese talent.
Evil's a gimmick guy.
Yeah.
He is a gimmick guy. They're going to eat that shit up over there. He won't be Japanese Undertaker, which is kind of what he was in New Japan at the beginning. He's kind of moved away from that, doing his own thing. I mean, I'm so sick of the House of Torture over there.
Yeah.
I mean, Jeremy is primarily a New Japan guy, and so he's very rah-rah New Japan and those things. I'm not going to lose sleep over Evil going, and someone goes, he's going to stalk his ex-wife. I laughed because he probably
will. Yeah. I mean, it's also possible that they have an amicable relationship and are two complete professionals,
but it's also funnier. It's way funnier the other way. So we'll go there. I think Evil's better than he gets credit for. He's been filling a role there. And Gato, dude, speaking of Memphis, Gato loves his Memphis. And it's very obvious when you watch House of Torture shit. So I think New Japan has been in a creative rut for years. And I think that all these guys saying fuck off and leaving is going to force them to be creative, or it's going to force them to find a new booker. Gato's been the booker there since 2008, I want to say. Like, that's a long time, man. I think they could use some new blood in the booking industry there. I don't know who that is, but I think they could use somebody else.
Yeah, Hiromu Takahashi looks like he's on his way out. Maybe even Noah bound. I think Super J Cast reported that from right here in the Voices of Wrestling Network. But yeah, Hiromu Takahashi, that's kind of crazy. I thought that he had been a lifer in New Japan, but looks like he wants to go hang out with Naito and those guys.
Yeah, probably. What I got a thing. Whatever, JD could give you two shits if you think it's funny. I don't know what that's about. Yeah. I'm hilarious. I think that Hiromu's kind of been played out a little bit in New Japan too. I think the neck injury has really slowed him down considerably, where he's become a lot of a gimmick guy now too. I think that a lot of those LIJ guys have really been relying on charisma alone, and that does not carry you in New Japan. So him going to Noah makes perfect sense right now. I think it's good. I think the Hiromu loss probably hurts more, but he's been wanting to move up to heavyweight for a long time and never really got that opportunity there. So it makes sense for me to give him somewhere else. I see it. I'm good with it.
Yeah, I see it. And Noah could use the boost. I think they signed Naito and they got a lemon. That poor guy. Yeah, he's not moving around too well. The War Dogs, all their contracts are coming due. I know we've already talked about Finlay already, but Gabe Kidd looks like he is being courted by both AEW and WWE. But if you're asking me, I think that Tony Khan already has that deal on the bag. Like, Gabe Kidd's probably just trying to squeeze out a couple more shekels out of him, but he has to be AEW bound, right?
I think this is Will Ospreay 2.0. Yeah. Remember a couple years ago, I remember we had buddies who were like, Will's going to WWE, man. Will's going to WWE. And he was like, I was always going to AEW. Like, I think freaking Gabe Kidd was wearing a Death Rider's knee pad for the last year. Like, he was like an unofficial Death Rider. And it seems like Gabe is he works his ass off. I think he's going to be a massive loss for New Japan. I really do. Gabe Kidd is a great worker. He's got a shit ton of charisma. He's probably the best gaijin talent they've produced in a long, long time. So whoever winds up with him, I think he fits much, much better in the AEW system than he does in the WWE system.
Same.
Because he's got a little bit of that Eddie Kingston vibe where, when Gabe gets on the mic, it's raw, it's him, and his work rate is super, super high. And I would rather both companies are so full right now that I think, as a fan of wrestling, I would love to see him be the top gaijin, like fill that AJ Styles, Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay role of being and Jay White being the top gaijin over there. He never quite got that spot. I would love to see him, but if the money ain't there, the money ain't there. This is a fucking business. Dude's got to make money. Yeah, I think a lot of fans forget that sometimes because they want to see their favorites where they want to see them. But these guys got bills to pay, and you only get so many bumps in a ring before your career is done.
Yeah, for sure. I think he works best in AEW. Lastly, we don't even need to comment too much because it's been out for a couple weeks, but she just talked about it today. But Killer Kelly left TNA. So there you go.
Surprise.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's a bigger
That's
loss for them. I don't know. I've not been watching later, but I was recently, but I was always a fan of Killer Kelly stuff, and in TNA, I thought she was a good fit there. Do you think she goes to either of the other companies? Because I don't
mhm.
know that that's a thing.
No, I don't see it. I think, like I think Court Bauer would like her, to be honest with you, and I think Billy
I could see
Corgan
it.
would have an affinity for her.
I could see
I
it.
don't like, and I'm not trying to be any like disparaging towards Killer Kelly, but
No,
I think she kind of plateaued as far as
I
like what
agree.
she's capable of in the ring,
Mhm,
after a while,
mhm,
and maybe even regressed at times. And TNA, they brought her back after her maternity leave, so she kind of missed a year. They brought her back. They immediately pushed her to a world title shot, and then she's just been losing matches ever since, and she's been mostly relegated to Explosion. So I think everybody kind of saw this coming for like the last 6 months. So,
mhm.
um, and TNA has like a different strategy. They're kind of going in a different direction. So, Killer Kelly's just not part of that. But she
Yeah,
did say that they offered her a deal, but I don't know.
it's probably one of those nice guy deals, and I can see
Yeah,
her wanting to do something different. The company has changed so much over the last couple years. I don't know where someone like her kind of fits in right now. So maybe
yeah.
she would be better off in like an MLW or an NW or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. Okay, let's get to the chat. So Fantas, why would anyone at or WB care about 6-year-old Facebook comments by Trey? I refuse to believe that anyone at WBD knows who he is. Here's the
You
thing:
know,
I don't think they knew who Jay Briscoe was either. I think somebody just
exactly.
smartens them up, right? And they like, did they care about Jay Briscoe? Of course not. They didn't know who that was, but somebody just sent them the information,
Mhm.
and then they took action on it. It only has to offend one person in a high position in order for that to happen. I assure you that Trey Miguel did not get fired by MJF. Believe whatever you want, but that did not happen.
No, and like you gotta understand how these big corporate media companies work, especially ones that have like Hollywood ties. You know,
Yeah,
they don't like they don't like those kind of conversations. They don't like when you can because there's a lot of gotcha media, right?
yeah.
There's plenty of gotcha media that come out there and say, "Oh, look what this guy said," and then you are left with egg on your face having to defend a guy who works for you, who is of questionable moral integrity, shall we say? And I don't think that Trey is, but he's not the first person to lose a job in the media world because of things he had said.
He's not even the first wrestler to lose their job, or even person that working for a Turner, a wrestling company on Turner. Like Bill Watts got fired because somebody sent a letter to Hank Aaron, who was working at Turner, about some shit that Bill Watts said to Wade Keller, and
Mhm,
they fired Bill Watts. And then of course Jay Briscoe happens, and then now recently Trey Miguel. Now people will bring up Sammy Guevara, but here's the thing: Sammy Guevara was under contract. He was already there,
mhm.
and they gave Tony an opportunity to punish him for what he said about, I guess, Sasha Banks at the time, which was pretty gross. But everybody has a different threshold, and I don't think one has anything to do with the other. I think that this is just what it is.
Ask yourself this in this current environment, if what Trey said wasn't offensive, why wasn't he one? Why wasn't he brought into WWE? I think it was like 4 or 5 years ago when the Rascals first went over there the first time. Why didn't they pick him up now?
So they actually had been bringing Trey in with the TNA partnership, and Trey had actually been working some dark matches, but I think they were thinking about bringing him in, but Tony wanted the entire act, and I think that's
Well,
kind of
I get that. The fact that he's gone though, you can't tell me they wouldn't want him with NXT. Like he wouldn't be helping those kids out there. Rest. Like I think that
he
if
would,
he absolutely would. He's very
yeah,
very good. The problem with Trey is Trey. You know, like he's gotten himself into trouble with some things,
yeah.
and that's the same thing that kept him out of there the first time. It's not a surprise. Like. And that's unfortunate for the guy. I mean, you got to understand that these companies own a lot of smaller companies, especially when this environment is going on, where they're going to have a WBD and Netflix are going to have a shit ton of eyes on them because certain people don't want that merger going through.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So they have to keep the company on the up and up right now. It would not surprise me if you saw less blood in AEW. Not certainly not none, but it would not surprise me if things were less violent in AEW than they had been for the next 6 to 10 months.
Yeah. XWF says Naito should retire. Yeah, that
Yeah, I agree with that.
probably would be the best. Okay. Gabe would have his trouble keeping his promos clean.
No, I don't think
Nah,
so.
he's a
That's
smart guy.
Yeah, it's
He
the ECW thing, man. Those
yeah,
ECW guys, Shane Douglas, were going to be like, "Fuck Dick Flair," and then he went to WCW and he was fine with cutting
yeah,
promos. Like these guys are professionals.
yeah. Let's see. I know that people think that Finlay is going to the WWE, but considering how badly they booked his father and his brothers in Chase University, that would be a massive step down. His father
No, they
still
work.
works there.
He
Yeah,
works there. He's
yeah.
had a job there since 2000.
You think his
Like,
dad? You think his dad cares like how he was booked? His dad's old school, man. He's like,
yeah,
pay me,
yeah,
pay me a lot of
exactly.
money, and I'll do whatever you want. And that's that mentality.
I'll be honest with you. The only thing that would surprise me about this is that David Finlay hadn't signed sooner.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think that he just really liked New Japan and thought
Yeah,
that
I
maybe he
agree.
would be the top guy in there. And he just isn't Kenny Omega. He isn't AJ Styles. He isn't those guys. He's a
No,
talented guy, I
very
think, but he's not a top guy. Not
no.
everybody is.
No, and that's okay. Not everybody has to be a top guy. And I know we want to see our favorites booked in companies where they can be top guys, but for some of these guys, making more money is more important. Like you and I are both family men in our 40s. I want to make as much money as humanly possible right now.